Head to twig.symfony.com and then click to check its documentation. There's lots of good stuff here, but what I want you to do is scroll down to the twig reference. Yeah. The first thing to look at on the left are these things called tags. This list represents every possible thing that you can use with the do something syntax. Yep, it will always be curly brace % and then one of these things, like for or if. And honestly, you're only going to use about 5 of these on an everyday basis. If you want to know the syntax for one of these, just click to see its docs. In addition to the 20 tags, Twig also has something called filters. These are sweet. Filters are basically functions, but with a more hipster syntax. Twig does also have functions, but there are fewer. Twig really prefers filters. They're way cooler. For example, there's a filter called upper. Using a filter is like using the pipe key on the command line. You have some value, then you pipe it into the filter you want, like upper. Let's try it. Print track.artist pipe upper. And now it's uppercase. If you want to confuse your coworkers, you can pipe that to lower, which sends things back to lowercase. There's no real reason to do this, but filters can be chained like this. Anyways, check out the filter list because there's probably something you'll find useful. And that's pretty much it. Beyond functions, there's also something called tests, which are handy in if statements. You can say things like, if number is divisible by 5. Okay, just one more thing to learn about Twig, and it's cool. View the HTML source of the page. Notice that there is no HTML structure. There's no HTML, head, or body tags. Literally, the HTML that we have inside of our template is what we get, nothing more. So, is there some sort of layout system in Twig where we can add a base layout around us? Absolutely, and it's incredible. It's called template inheritance. If you have a template and you want that to use some base layout, at the very top of the file, use a do something tag called extends. Pass this the name of the layout file, base.html.twig. That's referring to this template right here. Before we check that out, if we try this now, yikes, big error. A template that extends another cannot include content outside Twig blocks. To figure out what that means, open base.html.twig. This is your base layout file, and you're totally free to customize it however you want. Right now, it's mostly just boring HTML tags, except for a number of these blocks. Blocks are basically holes into which a child template can place content. Let me explain that in a different way. When we say extends base.html.twig, that basically says, yo, Twig, when you render this template, I want you to actually render base.html.twig and then put my content inside of it. Twig then politely replies, okay, cool, I can do that. But where in base.html.twig do you want me to put all of your content? Do you want me to put it at the bottom of the page? At the top? Some random place in the middle? The way we tell Twig where to put our content within base.html.twig is by overriding a block. Notice that base.html.twig already has a block called body, and that's right where we want to put our template's HTML. To put it there, in our template, surround all of our content with block body and then end block. This is called template inheritance because we are overriding that body block with this new content. So now, when Twig renders base.html.twig and it gets to this block body part, it's going to print the block body HTML from our template. Watch, refresh, and the error is gone. And if you view the page source, we have a full HTML page. Oh, and the names of these blocks are not important. If you want to rename them after your favorite 90s sitcom character, do it. Just remember to also update its name in any child templates. You can also add more blocks. Every block you add is just another potential override point. Oh, and you may have noticed that blocks can have default content. Look at the page right now. The title says Welcome. That's because the title block has default content, and we're not overriding it. Let's change the default title to Mixed Vinyl. So now that will be the title of every page on our site, unless we override that. In our template, either above body block or below, the order of blocks doesn't matter. Add block title, end block, and in between, create a new record. And now, yes, this page has a custom title. Oh, and you might be wondering, what if I don't want to replace a block entirely, but instead I want to add to a block? That's totally possible. In base.html.twig, the title block is set to Mixed Vinyl. If we wanted to prepend our custom title to that, we could say create a new record, then use the say something tag to print a function called parent. That does exactly what you'd expect. It finds the parent template's content for this block and prints it. Refresh, and that's so nice. If you're ever confused about how template inheritance works, it's useful, for me at least, to think about it exactly like object-oriented inheritance. Each template is like a class, and each block is like a method. So the homepage class extends the base.html.twig class, but overrides two of its methods. If that only confused you, don't worry about it. So that's it for Twig. You're basically a Twig expert, which I'm told is a popular topic at parties. Next, one of the killer features of Symfony is its debugging tools. Let's get these installed and check them out.